Home is where most of us want to be most of the time, and as your realtor, I'll help get you there. Visit the Lepic Krager website at lkriowa.com and look for me. I'd be honored to work with you.
At Diamond Leaf Jewelers in Coralville, we have two guiding principles when serving our clients. First, to provide an inviting and comfortable environment that promotes a creative exchange of ideas. The second is to create jewelry based on that conversation that will be a lifelong source of pride. The inherent value of creation takes time, and at Diamond Leaf Jewelers, you will never feel rushed. We'll keep working until your dream has been perfected. Come talk to me, Miriam, at Diamond Leaf Jewelers in the Iowa River Landing, and let's create an heirloom together. Open 7 days a week.
Think about the last time you had your car worked on, the diagnostics, the suggested repairs, the service. Did you leave feeling good about the entire experience? If the answer is no, you need to call Harapot Auto on Rupert Road. Friendly and straightforward, Harapot Auto has a sterling reputation built over 30 years of service. Gary will give you his honest opinion on what repairs are needed versus what can wait. He'll figure out the best options for both your safety and budget. The next time you need a repair or routine maintenance, call Harapot Auto at 338-6223.
1630 KCJJ on TuneIn and YouTube. Powered by the Iowa City Marketplace.
Here is your KCJJ forecast today. Plenty of sunshine. We're headed to 81 for a high this afternoon. The wind out of the south at about 5 to 15 today. Tonight, scattered showers and thunderstorms likely, and there could be some heavy rain. We could get 3/4 of an inch, maybe even a little more here through tomorrow. Our low tonight, 62. Tomorrow, scattered showers and thunderstorms, mostly cloudy, with a high right around 80. I'm meteorologist Sean Cable on the mighty 1630 KCJJ. Right now, it's 67.
Weather brought to you by the Westport Touchless Auto Washes. This special edition of AllHawkeyes.com brought to you by Big Dog TV and Internet, serving all of eastern Iowa with Dish, DirecTV, and Internet. Don't call an 800 number. Call Kevin and his crew at Big Dog. Call 338-6600. Zet for printing and design and imprinted ink on the Ped Mall. The Ox Yoke Inn. Supple's Flowers, the home of 1-800-800-ROSE. Sidler's LED Supplies. GT Carr, his crew at Supple Siding and Remodeling. Mike's Lock and E-Keys for cars. Steve Anderson, Hawkeye Title and Settlement, and Premier Automotive in North Liberty. Hit a deer. Call Premier from allhawkeyes.com. Pat Harty. Suter is back.
Yes.
And Chuck Long is on the phone with us.
Morning, Chuck. How are you doing?
I'm doing great. I can barely hear you, though.
Okay, well, we'll talk loud. Can you hear this? Can you hear me?
I can hear you.
Okay.
Are we on the radio?
We are on the radio right now.
Okay, hold on. Let me see if I get a better.
I can hear you fine.
Okay.
There you go.
Oh, perfect.
That's even better. Cool. Hey, Chuck, I appreciate you coming on. I didn't give you a lot of notice, but I thought it was interesting what you said, some of the stuff you said on the Big Ten Network the other day. You were at that practice, and obviously
right.
One thing that really stood out was you were the first one to give an indication that Ivory Kelly-Martin was making a move at running back. Then the next day, Brian Ferentz comes out and says that, yeah, he's our starter right now. What was it about Ivory Kelly-Martin that just stood out to you in just that one practice?
Well, he just showed some elusiveness with some speed and quickness all in one practice to me. He just really had some big runs, and one thing I liked about him is he could really pace at the line of scrimmage, meaning did a nice job of letting his blocks set up before he hit the hole. And the other guys really weren't doing that. They weren't as patient as he was. And I think just in that practice, of course, I haven't seen them all, but he just stuck out the way he was elusive and the way he was setting up his blocks, the way he paced it, and the way and his patience too. And he had a good day. I mean, he to me was head and shoulders above the rest of them.
Interesting.
So is that the key then for an Iowa running back, is to let the zone blocking scheme develop, and then when he sees the hole, then boom? Is that kind of it?
That's kind of it. You have to. A lot of young backs, they're not patient enough to let their blocks. And then zone blocking is all tackle to tackle. You could really take anything from tackle to tackle as long as it presents itself. A lot of young backs want to cut back too fast and stay in front side on the zone play. way, but you can cut all the way back against the grain, and that's where the really good backs separate themselves and how to do that. And Martin really felt just a lot. I don't all the way there yet. Like, he takes repetition and getting used to your offensive line. I see Torrin Young as more of a short yardage back. He's just not as quick and fast as Martin is, but he will have a role in that offense. And he'll get some first and second down carries too, but I see him developing into a really good short yardage back for Iowa.
How about the junior college transfer, Hawkeye Sargent? What did you think just in one practice?
I liked him. He didn't show a lot the day I was there, but he's been obviously all the rage in camp. But he's going to get some snaps. Little stuff, guys. I don't know how many snaps he'll get. I can see him getting up to 10, maybe 5 or 8 to 10 a game. But the big thing is who's going to be the third down back, third medium, third and long. I think Martin, again, has the edge there unless they want a better blocker, and I'm not sure. That was the day they had shoulder pads on and they had shorts on, so they weren't really. I couldn't tell a lot with their blocking skills, but the third down back is going to be intriguing from here on out. Who they're going to use there?
They did. Brian Ferentz did mention the next day that what helps separate Martin right now, Kelly Martin, is his ability to catch out of the backfield and his ability to go into the gap and take on a blitzing linebacker. Obviously, that's big stuff too, and it sounds like he's just doing everything a little bit better than the guys behind him. And what you brought up, the explosiveness and stuff, that's stuff that can't be coached. And I was impressed the first time I saw him, just how quick he cuts.
Yeah, he's quicker than you think. He's just impressive. This was a wet day. I mean, it was pouring rain. They had a practice in the pouring rain. Kirk has been waiting. He said he's been waiting a couple of years to finally get a wet ball practice. Of course, if I was the quarterback, Pat, I would have said, no, let's stay inside. We don't need that. But he wasn't asking me, and we were out there, and it was pouring rain with some wind, and so I thought the running backs really showed good balance on that turf and on the wet turf, especially Kelly Martin.
So were you surprised? Because I could tell. I thought from Days Resin, I think you guys seemed generally a little surprised that he decided to go outside.
Yes, I was surprised. Being an old quarterback, I wanted to stay in.
Yeah.
But it was really, it was a rain, but it was not real cold, and so he wanted to get some wet ball drill. And it was good. It accomplished a lot just by going outside and letting the quarterbacks throw in that, because you never know.
Sure, no, good point.
And yeah, you never know. And I watched the second drill, and there wasn't. I think there was only 2 balls on the ground in a 7-on-7 drill in the pouring rain. So what the rain helps is concentration. It teaches you better concentration. And it's one of those, hey, why don't you guys do that all the time, even when it's dry?
That's
the concentration level goes way up when it's raining, and they did a nice job in their 7-on-7 drill. I think I only counted 2 balls on the ground.
Wow.
So, Chuck, what were some of your observations of Nate Stanley? I know you saw him play last year and were impressed. And how did you see him during the practice that you saw?
Yeah, he's really. I mean, he's big and strong. I don't know. It looks like he's gotten bigger. 240 pounds or so.
He's big.
I mean, he just towers over everybody. The differences from camp last year to this year. Number one, his command. Just had more presence out there, more command. You can see his leadership that has improved. He obviously has a lot of confidence right now going into this year. That really was on display in the practice. You could really feel that. His arm is strong. I mean, he has an excellent arm. He still needs the negatives. He still needs touch on his throws. There was one particular corner route that he threw. He tried to drill it in there over the corner and underneath the safety instead of putting a little air on it. And then he needs to work on the running back sitting over the ball 5 yards from the line of scrimmage. He still wants to drill it. And that ball's coming in hot. He just needs to touch that up a little bit. I did like the fact that he was going down to a second and third receiver a lot better this year than he was last year at this time. He was going through his progressions a lot better.
Sure. Yeah, that's one thing you said on TV. And Chuck, I know I'm asking you to think back a long ways, but how often did you throw the ball to Ronnie Harmon when he wasn't maybe your first or second option on a play call?
Quite a bit.
Okay.
He was always a second or third, at least a third in the progression. And so I was always aware of where he was. If it didn't materialize, I was going to get it down to him because he was so good with the ball in his hand. I mean, he's one of the best athletes ever to come through Iowa. And so I was smart enough to, and I knew my strengths and weaknesses. And one of my weaknesses, I didn't have a great arm. I mean, I had more of a touch arm, and with accuracy, I didn't have a cannon for an arm at all. So I played to that strength, and so there was times where I was like, "Hey, I hope the deep guy doesn't get open, so I can give it to Ronnie Harmon." It was one because I knew I couldn't get the ball down that far. So it worked out well. But I was always aware of where he was.
Well, I interviewed Ronnie Harmon one time about 15 years ago, and I remember something he said to me that stood out. He said that you had a great ability to throw what fans think are those easy screen short passes to running backs, but you had a knack of throwing it to where he didn't have to change his body momentum or his direction, that it's not as easy as it looks, and is that part of what I see with Stanley? There's times where he'll complete that easy pass to a running back, but they'll have to adjust their body or work so hard to catch it because it's so hard. Then they have to start running again. Ronnie said he could always stay moving forward because you placed the ball right where it needed to be. Talk about that.
Yeah, that's touch. It's just put a little touch on it, put a little air on the ball, and when you study quarterbacks, one of the things you study, when I studied them when I was coaching, is do they keep the receiver moving forward, or does the receiver have to jump up to catch, which loses time, or does he have to twist around to catch the ball? You want those quarterbacks to keep the guy on the run without breaking stride. And Nate still needs to work on that. I mean, and it just takes time. It takes a lot of repetition. It's just a feel of when to take something off the ball on the swing route or on the screen pass, and then aiming to the front side, throwing to the front side number to keep his feet on the ground. But it is not an easy thing to master. It does take a little time to do that. He's not quite there yet, but he's improved in so many different ways. Like I said, with his progressions, he does. And you have to play his strength too. If I had a kid like him, I'm not going to throw a lot of screens. Maybe it's going to be the change-up screen, but I want to play to his strength of that cannon for an arm and getting the ball down the field.
Well, Chuck, one of the obvious weaknesses in the Iowa offense last year was the ability to consistently go downfield and have the wide receivers get some distance between them and their defenders. Did you, in the one look that you saw again, in the practice that you saw, did you see any progression in the wide receiver core this year?
Well, none of them really stuck out in that practice. And I want to be fair because it was it was pouring rain. Right. I'm not trying to give them an excuse, but I didn't see them running a lot of deep balls, and maybe that was in their practice plan anyway, not to throw it deep too much. But Amir Smith-Marset guys have to come through for them.
Big time, yep, I
agree. That's the one thing that stuck out to me. They don't have the speed going down the field, and he does. Mm-hmm. And he needs to come through. He's the guy they want to come through. He'll be able to stretch the field. Is he there yet? No, he's not. He's still a work in progress, and still needs to concentrate on the ball a little bit better. He had some drops the other day in practice, and he needs to concentrate on the ball. But right now, I just see really three in the mix and maybe a fourth. I see Nick Easley. I see Marset's Amir Smith-Marset, and I see Brandon Smith.
Mm-hmm.
You know, Brandon's more of a kind of a, I wouldn't call him a possession guy, but he's a big, strong receiver. He's not real fast, but he's strong. So he'll be covered, but he'll make those catches at the catch point when they throw it up to him, like on the fade route. And that's where he's going to make his hay, because he's not going to separate too much from anybody. But he'll be strong at the catch point, so you can still throw that ball up there, and he'll come. You know, he's got to come down with it. That's where he's going to make his big plays. But I see those three, and then it's going to be the use of Fant and Hawkinson.
That's what I was going to ask you about. I mean, the tight ends. Some people. I mean, I could say maybe it's the best group of tight ends I've seen since I've been covering Iowa, dating back to '92. Just, I mean, 1 through 5, even down to Drew Cook. It looks like they have some pretty quality tight ends. Obviously, we know about Fant and Hawkinson.
Yep. You know, they're going to move Fant around. I mean, that's a given, and everybody knows that.
Mm-hmm.
And how they use that, you know, and that's harder than it is. You know, everybody thinks, oh, move around, put them all over the formation. That's tough. That's a tougher game plan than you think. And but they're going to do that. They're going to try to get those mismatches with him as a slot receiver. You know, they'll put him out wide against certain safeties on the backside, try to match him up on linebackers inside. The guy that really stuck out the other day was Hawkinson. He reminds me a lot of Dallas Clark, to be honest with you.
Really?
The kid, they move him around. He can play fullback. He's an excellent blocker. He's got great hands. He had an excellent day the other day catching the football.
Mm-hmm.
Don't be surprised if he's their go-to guy on those third mediums, 3rd and 4 to 6, where they really need, you know, they need those yards, and he's strong and big and strong enough to bang around and get off the linebackers and stick him the ball. Fant is going to be more your hybrid wide receiver / tight end. He's not. His blocking needs to improve. He's not quite there yet with his blocking. He's getting better with that. Again, to be fair, I didn't see a lot.
Sure.
And Fant said the other day, but the Hawkinson, he really impressed me the other day.
Interesting. Now, Chuck, I know we'll just ask you a few more. I appreciate you being on. We could talk forever about. But the West Division, Jerry DiNardo said that he's not ready right now just to say it's Wisconsin's. And I mean, how do you look at the West right now? Obviously, you're biased towards Iowa a little bit, but I think it's fair to say that Iowa, that they're maybe the next team knocking on Wisconsin's door. Would you say that, at least on paper?
Yeah, on paper, yes. You know, Wisconsin, you know, appears to be on paper the best of the West.
Yes.
However, you know how it goes going to Kinnick Stadium.
Yes. You
know, Iowa beat Michigan when they were 3 a couple of years ago. Ohio State last year. Wisconsin's coming to town. So, obviously, a pivotal game for the West lead. But 2 similar football teams. The edge goes to Wisconsin because I believe they have the better running back at this point in time.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's hard to
argue that. He's in the Heisman. Jonathan Taylor was in a Heisman Trophy race last year, so
mm-hmm.
so he was. I think they have the edge there as far as running back, and it's a running back offense. I mean, that's what it is, and I think they have the wide receiver core that's has the edge on Iowa as well. So I think defensively it could be a wash though. I mean, between the two teams.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I think
they lose a lot.
Yeah, they lost a lot of guys. So I think it's more of a wash on that defensive side. It's just a matter of who's going to control the ball and who's going to have the better running game during that game. On paper, it appears to be Wisconsin as far as that's concerned. But, again, they're coming to Kinnick, so you never know. But I think the West is going to get better because of Nebraska. I think Nebraska is going to be on the rise with Scott Frost. And it's going to be very, very competitive division. And it just very well might get to the point where it's like the East. Now, I think Ohio State will always get all the talent more than anybody else, but I think Nebraska will eventually close that gap where the West may get on par with the East at some point in time.
So you're like a lot of people would. So you'd be very surprised if Scott Frost didn't succeed big time at Nebraska. You think all the pieces are in place for him to maybe not be the next Tom Osborne, but to get them back to where they're competitive every year?
Absolutely. Yeah, I really do. He's an excellent recruiter. He has great recruiting ties. He has a good staff. He's going to have a tempo offense that it will be faster than anybody in the league. So I do believe he'll get to a competitive level.
You do realize
every year.
You do realize Iowa fans do not like hearing that, but that's part of being a fan now.
I know. Hey, I know.
So Chuck, the stuff at Ohio State with Urban Meyer, do you think that's going to impact whether this team can reach its potential this year? This Ohio State team?
I don't think so. I don't know. I don't think it's going to impact it at all. I think they're. I'm very impressed with Ryan Day, their interim coach.
Mm-hmm.
I've seen clips of him already in practice, and he's a really impressive guy. I mean, here's a guy that might be the next young, guy to come along to be a great head football coach at some point in time. He has all the attributes of being one. So, and this is just clips I saw, but he really impressed me. And so I don't think they're going to miss a beat.
I don't want to put you on the spot, but I'm going to anyway. What was your thoughts on the Ohio State decision out there?
Oh, I have mixed feelings on it. I really don't want to go down that road.
No, I know. I understand that. I have to ask, but I can understand that. It's an unfortunate.
I would give you a better answer. I just don't know all the details.
Sure, I understand it. But would you agree, Chuck, the Big Ten needs this season to start so we can start focusing on some positive stuff, which is football on the field?
Absolutely. It's time to start some football and make it positive and talk about the positive stories that come out of the season. And that's exactly what we need. Absolutely.
Two things before we go. The 1983 staff's going to all be here. You were
right.
What? You were in that was your third year in the program, right? 1983.
Yep. Correct.
So, I mean, obviously you're a 20-year-old kid, but were you aware of how good the coaching was then, or were you just kind of living every day, just living in the moment, not thinking about that?
Oh, we all thought and knew we had a good coaching staff. We didn't realize how good. I mean, to have 5 or 6 Hall of Fame coaches, including Coach Fry, 6 Hall of Fame coaches off of that staff. I mean, we would have never thought that, but we knew they were good. I mean, we knew they were good, and we knew they were all going to go places and be head coaches. The great indicator of that was 1981 when we turned it all around and went to the Rose Bowl.
Yeah,
and
pretty obvious.
Then we won the Peach Bowl after that, and then we just knew we had something magical. We had something magical with that staff, but I don't think anybody ever thought, gosh, there's 6 college football Hall of Fame coaches, and Dan McCarney is in the Iowa State Hall of Fame, and he may have a chance at college football Hall of Fame at some point in time, but yes, 6 with Hall of Fame credentials on one staff. In little old Iowa. Who would have thunk that?
It really was an incredible. Well, Chuck, before we let you go, how's your book? I mean, you're going to be I know you're going to be out at the Brickyard on September 10th.
Yep.
Just update us on how that's going.
Going well, fellas, and we were gonna shut everything down this summer, but my author Aaron Putsey said, "Hey, this book's still going well. Let's keep it going." So we've gone on about 80 book signings so far, wow. And it's been a lot of fun connecting or reconnecting with people across the state of Iowa, talking about those stories. It's just been really fun to do.
Well, it was a fun time for Iowa football.
Yeah, it was fun, and we're just going to keep it going, and anybody who wants us, we'll come over and sign some books and have a good time with them.
Okay.
All right, Chuck, thanks again for all your time and your generosity, and look forward to a big season for the Big Ten and hopefully a big season for the Hawkeyes.
That's right. Let's get this thing started, huh?
I agree, Chuck. Thanks a lot. Appreciate it.
Thanks so much.
All right, guys. Thank you.
All right.
That was good.
Yeah.
This is a rare Thursday special edition.
Very special.
It's very
cameo.
It's a cameo.
It's like an after-school special, only during school.
But there's no conflict.
Yeah.
There's no conflict. Usually the after-school specials someone's either raiding the medicine cabinet or dating them. Or something. Aren't Lisa? Isn't that what you think of when you think of after school special? What do you think of? Raiding the medicine cabinet?
What do I think of? I
think back to Kathy Johnson when I was in high school.
I really don't think about after-school special at all.
She was my.
And I never have.
She was my after-school special.
I think you're turning this in a direction we don't need to go. I had to ask Chuck about. I knew.
Absolutely.
He handled it. I was one. I needed to because the listeners would be like, "Why could you?" But I understand how he can't comment on that stuff.
And he can't.
When he works for the big,
Yeah.
But I think by saying mixed feelings, that's his subtle way of saying, "Hey,
let's move on.
Let's move on. This is another very unfortunate thing." But since we're diving right into that thing, can you believe that those losers never mentioned the victim? And when they specifically asked about her, Urban Meyer's like, "Well, I just want to say sorry to everybody."
In a couple minutes, we're going to go to CNN. They've got a great report, and they had a woman earlier on, and from USA Today. Just rip the hell out of him.
Well, that Skip Bayless,
and rightfully so.
That Skip Bayless this morning saying, "Hey, he was all for suspension and everything," but he goes, "The other side of me, there's no evidence that she ever." There's a text message exchange that I read, him admitting that he strangled her, and there was a photo of her with bruises up and down her. Would she do that to herself? I mean, there is evidence.
Of course there is.
There's not just a text message. There's text messages.
But then he's saying, well, it doesn't mean that she's habitual, and one time you should be gone. If you beat your wife one time in any job almost, but as a college football coach, where you're around young men and you're molding character and stuff like that,
What's the name of his show? Skip Bayless's show?
Undisputed. I just was surfing today. I don't watch it, but I did watch. I was curious to get his opinion because I knew he was going to take some weird angle like he always does.
We were in, surprise, a casino in Reno, but we were in the sports book.
Oh.
And that show came on, and it was why in God's name anybody would watch that is beyond just people screaming.
It is.
It's complete BS.
And it's the same stuff. It's LeBron James is better than Michael Jordan. No, he's not. Tom Brady's better than Aaron Rodgers. No, he's not.
But why is that interesting?
I don't know. Well, it's obviously not. Were you here for the time he called up the ratings?
No, they had
150,000 listeners.
I mean, I would never listen to that in a billion years.
They don't even they're so low they don't even register on what is it?
Nielsen. They don't even get rated.
Yeah, and it's staggering. And Colin Cowherd's the same way. And do you know how much Bayless is getting paid a year?
Too much.
Like $6 million.
$6 million.
Too much.
And Jim Rome, when's the last time you heard anything about Rome? He's on CBS Sports Cable.
Never
and he's
seen
on the CBS
Rome
station.
if you want to.
Yeah. You hear more about the B-52's version of Rome than you. It's
$30 million.
Yeah.
Jesus God.
$30 million.
It's ridiculous.
It is incredible. Yeah. I thought some Chuck's talk. Ivory Kelly Martin sounds like he's got a chance to be. I'm not saying special or anything, but a good, reliable back. I mean, and the thing that we're hearing and finding out about him, it's his versatility. It sounds like he can do everything. I mean, he can catch. I mean, and I asked that question because if you remember Iowa football, Chuck Long completed a lot of secondary underneath passes. Ronnie Harmon hit him in stride, and then 3rd and 8, Ronnie gets 17. They did a lot of that. That's what that's the part of this game that Nate Stanley needs to work on because I watched it in the kids' day practice. Stanley still, if a receiver's 6 feet from him, it's Nolan Ryan. It's like you got to take cover.
Exactly.
Here's CNN's take.
Coach Urban Meyer for the first 3 games of the season. Lindsay Zarniak is with me for more on the Bleacher Report this morning. Some people blasting this morning saying, that's it?
They're taking a lot of heat already. This is actually a partial suspension, and so what that 11 hours of discussion to come to this conclusion. The main topic they were discussing, Meyer's response or lack thereof to spousal abuse allegations against former assistant coach Zach Smith. The board found Meyer failed to take, quote, sufficient management action against Smith despite having knowledge of those accusations. Meyer offered an apology to fans, but this was his response when given an opportunity to apologize to the victim.
What message do you have for Courtney Smith?
Well, I have a message for everyone involved in this. I'm sorry that we're in this situation. And I'm just sorry we're in this situation.
so failure to acknowledge her directly has also gained some heat for him. Meyer admitted that he knew about a 2009 abuse allegation made by Smith's ex-wife, but he said he was not aware of a 2015 incident until last month. Zach Smith has denied the abuse allegations. He was fired from the team in July. Smith's attorney told CNN that his client should not have married Courtney Smith, adding, quote, vengeance against her ex-husband resulted in collateral damage to Urban Meyer, athletic director Gene Smith, and The Ohio State University. So all of this, Poppy, happening also at the same time as the United States Department of Education pursues a federal investigation into Ohio State's response to allegations of sexual abuse against former athletic doctor Richard Strauss. Shifting gears now, the long-awaited...
Boy. That statement from that lawyer is just disturbing and kind of scary.
And the statement from Urban was just
weak,
nothing.
lame, smarmy, just
weak sauce.
Real smarmy. I mean,
he's a slime ball. I mean, there's really no other way to look at about it. And the 73-8 record is what saved him. He's bigger. The coach at Ohio State in football at that level of success is bigger than anyone else at the university.
Here's a statement again.
Message do you have for Courtney Smith?
Well, I have a message for everyone involved in this. I'm sorry that we're in this situation.
Yeah, he's sorry because of what it's put him in.
Of course.
I'm just sorry we're in this situation.
Yeah, you weasel.
Well,
sentimental. It's not even sentimental hogwash. It's just hogwash, right?
No, hogwash.
Yeah. Yeah, he doesn't even deserve a sentimental hogwash.
No,
and he's able to be with the team. I saw something.
Yeah, he suspended one game and then 2 games he's
not
coaching. But
just coaching. He can be with them all the way up till kickoff.
Yeah.
It's like he can pat the guy in the butt before he goes out there to kick the... I mean, it's ridiculous.
It's
just a complete cave.
Toothless.
Yes.
No, it's a sham. It's just a stinking sham. And once again, the NCAA means nothing.
But there are some Ohio State fans that are bitching that he even got a suspension.
Absolutely.
They're like, hey, time served. These are 2 of the biggest weeks of team development. They're only looking at this thing from a win-loss thing. They couldn't, and a lot of them have reached out to me. She can't be trusted, no charges. She's nuts. She made this guy's life miserable. I'm just like...
Because there are certain men, and I think Meyer is one of them.
It's a cult.
That think that
women are subservient,
you're a woman and you can do what you. It's like they look at the woman like they look at a dog.
So you're saying behind it, he's like, hey man, I even let my wife go work. She doesn't have to stay home and be. Yeah. I mean, it's kind of the prehistoric caveman.
And I mean,
and that poor president looked so nervous.
What a dickhead to with that statement. I mean, won't address. She was. I don't care if she was the most miserable woman on the face of God's earth. You don't hit her.
No. Repeatedly and stalk her.
Yeah.
And, I mean, but that was the weird thing about Bayless and the guy. Because they were acting like there's no evidence. There's evidence. He admitted on text messages to beating her, to strangling her. I'm sorry, I won't do it again.
Not only that, but you missed a classic Feeney. He brought in all the... There's a list of all the sex toys that this jerk bought on,
and it was maybe the best hour in his life.
Yeah,
seriously, he just had a ball.
Well, Speedy comes in,
harnesses.
And here's a list of all these sex toys that he had sent to the university.
They mailed him to the university. That's how brazen he was about it.
Yeah, and he's doing it with people in the office.
Wasn't there something like a ball bugger or something like that?
Yeah.
He loved it all. I mean, I think I saw you reaching through the trash.
I did.
Because Feeney threw all the paperwork.
You know what I did? Seriously, Feeney left the paperwork on there, and I took it out to the garbage. I am not having it here.
But it was some really weird stuff.
Real.
Well, he must have had, it takes 2 to tango, too.
Well, no, he was having
liaisons
up in the football facility.
Yeah, he's doing it in the football facility, too. And this guy's, and you can't tell me that somebody didn't see this stuff coming in? I mean, package upon pack. How many damn things did he order? It was like in the hundreds.
Of course, how many packages do they get every day at the Ohio State football?
And we don't know how they were concealed. I mean, it could be somewhere you're looking. It's just
well, I can tell you,
Sally's sex shop. With,
no, they're brown. They're brown paper bags.
They found all. You have to look close. So maybe you didn't look close to see. You like that Sally's sex shop?
Hello.
Welcome back, Tom.
Some of that stuff you ordered on a Wednesday, you buy one, get one free.
Sally's Sex, I can just see the logo, the 3 S's.
That was a short one. Just kind of came in, dropped
in and out.
In and out. Just dropped a bomb, did a little drive-by, and moved on.
Well, it's just ridiculous. It's ridiculous. You can't tell me that Meyer didn't have any.
Well, Tom was right. Now, you said you didn't think he'd get any games. But
no, I said two games.
Okay, because I was going to say you're a lot closer than
he did say 2 games.
I thought you said you didn't think he'd get anything. But no, you were a lot closer than I just did not want to believe that. But I also didn't realize, I mean, Gene Smith now has survived. And I think we all thought Gene Smith was going to get that.
I thought so. Yeah.
He gets 2 weeks of no pay. And he was part of the tattoo thing. He was part of Tressel. I mean, what's it take to get him fired? And then that president looked like so
weak.
Out of his league and weak and just, I don't know what to say.
But how weak did Urban Meyer look there?
Well, that's all of that. No, I thought he looked completely powerful. He played into that weak, oh, poor me, look at this. But deep down he's saying, yeah. I mean,
he looked weak up to the point he made that statement and wouldn't acknowledge.
Well, he was trying to be weak and mild and act like he was sincere and sad. That's all an act.
Until he says, I'm sorry about the situation.
Behind the scenes, before they went out there, according to reports, he was bitching about having to be suspended for any games because he felt that they had already served time with the 3 weeks. I mean, it's just...
there's a radio station out there that was that had somebody near him, and they broadcast audio of him, bitching that this is ridiculous.
Oh, did they get that? The best, though, is when one of the TV stations said, this is the door that Urban Meyer walked into and is expected to walk out of. Somebody, I think, from Cleveland Plain Dealer, I think it was, tweeted that this is the door that he's, and here's 2 dumpsters and a window, and it was funny.
What is the NCAA or the Big Ten?
Well, I've been asked about that. They're going to do nothing because they don't want to. They could. You can always do something in a case like this.
But they're not.
They don't want to.
No.
They have no interest in doing it.
Now there is going to be an investigation.
By who?
The feds.
The feds are going to investigate Ohio State?
Yeah.
Good. That's good. They're separate. I mean, I love it when schools investigate themselves.
Isn't that weird?
Yeah. I mean, it just doesn't make any sense.
Impose sanctions on themselves.
And what did they do for 11 hours to come up with 3 games? I tweeted that his punishment was they were making him watch last year's Iowa game 5 times in a row, and that was his punishment. But I just don't know what they needed for 11 hours to come up with that.
That's a great question. I don't know.
I mean,
it's just bogus.
Well, let's go back to we talked to Chuck Long a few minutes ago. Obviously, did he say anything, Pat, that jumped off to you at all? Jumped out?
No, not really. Well, maybe a little bit about the receivers, and I'm writing something today about what he said about his quote. Amir Smith-Marset has to come through. I mean, that's pretty tough.
I thought that was pretty strong.
I think I agree with him. I think they've got a guy speed-wise. I mean, Iowa fans and everyone always bitches about they have it now. Now you got to figure out how to use it, and he's got to figure out how to use his speed too. Just because you run fast doesn't mean you can know how to use it on the field. I mean,
got to catch the ball.
Yes, there were times where his speed wasn't a factor because he didn't catch the ball, or he maybe ran the wrong route, or he let a D-back push him off the route. I'm hoping a year of experience, and Chuck was quick to say it was raining so bad to where I could see that maybe being a factor. But the one thing I didn't mention to Chuck, 2 of his biggest games, good and bad, were played in heavy rain. The Freedom Bowl and the loss at Ohio State. Torrential rain. You got to learn to play in that way. And see, to me, Smith-Marset, I want to see consistency. I want to see focus. I want to see a guy who's going to not let D-backs push him off his routes. Just the development, because the speed's there. Mm-hmm. And I think, just by him saying that he's got to come through, that's probably the thing most telling. I didn't ask Chuck. We didn't ask him about defense because that's not I mean, his area of expertise is offense. And Phil Parker gave us a pretty good indication of what's going on defensively right now. And people are like, well, I'm not going to make any opinions about the linebackers until I see them play in a game. They haven't done anything.
No, they haven't. And so, yeah, but I agree with you. The statement about Smith-Marsette, and it wasn't the wide receiver group needs to step up. It was this guy's got the speed.
Yes.
He needs to step up.
Yes.
And I think that was very telling.
And Nate Stanley's got a strong arm. If he can beat his guy, Nate Stanley can throw it 50, 60 yards downfield. Yeah. So that's not a problem. Like Chuck was very candid. Chuck didn't like to throw the ball deep downfield. He didn't have a very strong arm. And you play to your strengths. And so we'll see. I don't know if you saw it, but Akram Wadley put a video of Smith-Marsette running a short little crossing route, 7-on-7, and just his speed down the sideline looked incredible. Now, devil's advocate, it was 7-on-7 with no pads. I mean, but still, I mean, they've got a rare. He's the fastest guy I've seen at Iowa since James Townsend, who was the fastest guy I'd seen at Iowa since Tim Dwight. And James Townsend didn't do much here, but he had that one game at Minnesota. Remember when he got past the defense? Boom, 60, 70-yard touchdown. That's to me, and he was another kid from New Jersey too. So learning how to use Smith-Marsette's speed along with Noah Fant's speed is going to be a key. And Brian Ferentz, I asked him about that on Tuesday, and he openly talked about it. Yes, that's just something we have to do.
Well, yeah. Well, it's almost time for some football because Lord knows we've all talked about it
we
so
got
much.
High school tomorrow.
I know. Isn't that amazing?
Back in the booth tomorrow. I know Richard he can't even sleep.
He can't. No, he was
pacing.
He was texting along with Trump last night.
So you got City High and
all caps?
And the Lightning?
Yes.
Yeah,
yep.
All caps. I can't wait.
Was he texting in all caps?
The lyrics from New Shoes. I can't wait.
But yeah, it's here, and I think we do need some high school football to start. We just need to, because then we got Fry Fest next week.
Yep.
Most of the 80s. Now, Barry Alvarez and Bill Snyder won't be here, and I mean, people are saying, well, Barry chose this weekend to do his hip replacement so he didn't have to come down. I don't know about that. I can dislike Barry Alvarez as much as anybody, but I don't know about that.
I don't believe you choose the weekend to do. They tell you when they can get you in.
And I think if Barry came down here, he'd have a bunch of people bowing at his feet.
Yeah.
And he wouldn't. I mean, there may be a few drunk Iowa. You suck. You took our coaches away. But for the most part, it would have been a love fest.
I would agree.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But I mean, anybody that, hell, I've been waiting to get tests done for the last 12 weeks.
And it's either a knee. I think he's getting a knee replacement. It's either a knee or a hip.
I thought it was a hip.
Was it a hip? It's one or the other. I mean, it's either one. But I've had a couple people reach out to me. He's just doing it to stay away.
Our engineer got his knees replaced and his shoulders replaced, and he's like, I'm doing things I haven't done in 20 years. He's bicycling.
You're going to see him climbing up that tower before you know it.
He's running and everything.
The bionic man.
And he goes, yeah. And I've gained 10 pounds. He goes,
because he's eating better. Yeah, maybe. But no, if I'm Barry Alvarez, I wouldn't mind coming back here. Hell, they haven't lost at Kinnick since 2008.
No, everybody be nice to him. They wouldn't.
But no, he won't be there. And Bill Snyder's got a game, so he won't be here. But other than that, they're all going to be here. It's going to be a neat situation. And just like I said, we just need to get stuff going just so we can take the focus off the misery that has been Big Ten offseason 2018.
It's been awful, hasn't it?
It's been awful. I mean, it really has been awful. I mean, did you see the tweet? Terrell Pryor got did those guys get 5 games for tattoos?
I think they did.
The one guy down at Florida sold his shoes and got 4 games. Somebody on Twitter listed all these different infractions and the suspensions, and they were all more than 3 games. And at the bottom, you have Urban Meyer, 3 games. It just shows you, though, that the college head football coach at a school like Ohio State eventually becomes the ruler.
Yeah.
We just saw that, and Paterno did that for years until it got too much. I mean, even Paterno met his match, which unfortunately was repeated child rape for decades. That's finally what it took to bring Joe Paterno down.
And he enabled.
Yes.
Husker fan here. I enjoyed Chuck Long, and just wish I could have talked to him. I would have liked to ask him if he thought we were going to lose any games. Did you guys hear they finally got that phone booth installed in Scott Frost's office? Part of his contract to have a phone booth installed in his office.
Really?
Yeah, someplace he can change his clothes.
Okay.
Very good.
Yeah.
Okay, I get it.
Yeah.
All right.
So,
All
go
right.
Big Red.
All right. That's
very important.
That's enough. That's Nebraska fan.
Yeah.
That's not fake Nebraska fan, though, right?
Well,
there will be one down the road, though, right?
Yeah.
Someone,
sure.
someone mocking him will emerge.
So there was no question in Chuck Long's mind that Scott Frost was going to get it done.
None. And Chuck's an Iowa fan. I think deep down, none. That's what do you think? I looked at your face and you're like, yeah. Not that Chuck's going to be right, but Chuck.
Oh, I think Chuck's going to be right.
I do too. But when we're saying, sometimes when people, we're not. I'm not saying 13-0 every year.
No.
I'm saying back to easily to what Bo Pelini was, 9-3.
But I think they'll be better than that, and I think they will contend for the West title 3 out of 4 years, and I think they're going to absolutely do that.
I do too, unfortunately. And then their fans will be even more unbearable than they are now.
Even more.
But what if they do it? Let's say he just turns them out and 4 years from now, they've won a national. Then he leaves. He replaces Ferentz at Iowa,
or goes to the Patriots, replaces Belichick.
Could you imagine that?
Jesus Christ,
that would be kind of funny. So, but no, I thought what he said about Smith-Marset and what he said about Scott Frost were two pretty, because he didn't hesitate. He said absolutely.
Nope.
So, and the thing with that is, can Iowa, Wisconsin, Minnesota, and Nebraska, and Northwestern, and Purdue all be good at the same time?
No, of course not.
I didn't even mention Illinois. Seriously, something's got to give.
Of course.
Purdue fans are convinced with Jeff Brom, they're on the rise. Minnesota fans think that P.J. Fleck, to me, Minnesota's still the biggest question of all those teams.
Well, and they have got a walk-on quarterback.
Yes, well, that's part of it. That's what I'm saying. I think if you take all those teams I just mentioned, but all those programs feel strongly that they're on the rise, and not everybody can win.
No, you can't.
So that's going to be, and Iowa just needs to avoid being that one or two teams that mathematically they just all can't win 9 or 10 games. They can't. So it's going to be interesting.
Well, it is, and I mean, look at Fitz. I mean, look at the case he can make.
They won 10 games last year. Yeah,
10 games last year. Brand new, state of the art
facility.
Thorson's back. You can totally make the case. Iowa can make the case.
Yep.
Hey, Stanley, great defense, great tradition, manageable schedule. Look at. I'm not getting the Minnesota thing.
Well, it's because it's a new coach. It's P.J. Fleck. He's injected a lot of energy, but that's about it right now because they weren't that good last year. They haven't found a quarterback. I think Minnesota, of all those teams I mentioned, is the low point of all. But Purdue, I mean, think if you're a Purdue fan. Think if you grew up around Purdue and you love Purdue like you do Iowa.
Yeah.
Think how excited you'd be about football.
You would be jacked saying that, hey, Tiller, we know it can happen here in the modern era.
We get Iowa here this year. They get Iowa there.
We beat them last year.
I guarantee you Purdue fans think that. Purdue fans think Iowa's a victory right now.
Didn't they lose a lot of their defense?
They did. But still, they've got a lot of good offensive players back, and they've got a decent amount of players back. But I guarantee you Purdue fans think they're going to beat Iowa.
Well, so let's go show them.
So that's what you got to do. I don't think Purdue. What I'm saying is, I don't think Purdue fans right now are scared of Iowa.
They shouldn't be.
They shouldn't be. I mean, they beat them. They beat them pretty convincingly last year. I mean, what was it? 25-16 was the score, but it never felt in that second half like Iowa was going to win that.
I mean, we were 4-5 in the conference last year. Nobody should be afraid of Iowa.
Yeah, Purdue wasn't much better, but we're talking about where Purdue was coming. They were coming from 2-10, and they ended up going 7-6, didn't they?
Yeah.
Yeah, they improved by 5 games. So, what were you going to say, Captain?
I wasn't going to say anything.
Oh, I thought you were saying something, and then we cut you off.
No, was I?
I
don't know.
I think you were saying, hey, where are we going for lunch? I thought it was one of those. You guys, where are you guys going for lunch?
I don't know.
This is your first lunch back? This one's got to be special, doesn't it?
Yeah, this is a very,
I will say I am hungry.
He's hungry?
It's a very special lunch.
Very hungry.
Hungry,
like
very
an
special.
after-school lunch.
It's kind of like an after-school special. After a rare special Thursday edition of All Hawkeye.
I know.
What does this mean about tomorrow? Do we?
You got to bring it.
Got to still
There's
bring
a lot
it?
of stuff we didn't talk about today.
Yeah, you got to bring it.
Basketball schedule.
While you were away, 1600 got a call, but I'm
going to tell you something.
It was just me checking
I was
the line.
in the car.
Yeah.
15 minutes in the car yesterday.
Yeah.
They got Todd and them got 2 or 3 calls.
Hey,
no,
I swear to God.
Good. Sure,
they did.
The radio wasn't.
I'm just
drifting.
giving. I want to be fair. I mean, you're always no. I'm like, there's some guy I think named Sonny called him, and they should have played.
What's that song?
Sonny? What's that song? Sonny.
Yeah, Who's Bobby.
Who's
Bobby Bear?
Bobby. Or
Bobby who?
Yeah.
Now, if that Sonny guy ever called,
But-
if that Sonny guy ever calls here, we'll play that Sonny song for him.
Well, then we would need a fake Sonny to counterbalance.
Well, if he called 2 or 3 times, I'm sure there would be a fake. I mean, so what do we got? We got fake Ackerman. We got fake Dirk. We got what else is there's the new guy, the Nebraska fan. What else is there?
There's no fake Southern Justin, is there?
No.
I would think that would be an easy.
No. Not sure there's a real one
easy
either.
Call.
I am kind of surprised there's not a fake. Aren't you sort of surprised? Oh,
Yeah.
you've got the Ghost of Gavin.
Yeah, Ghost of Gavin is my favorite.
Yeah, he's never
Saw
called
the Ghost of Gavin.
He's never called into all Hawkeyes. No. God, why did I say that? It's like I'm kicking a hornet's nest. See how he's laughing right there? That's how he was all day Saturday when Feeney brought out the bag of tricks.
He brought all this crap.
Bag of tricks?
With pictures.
Pictures. Guys in harnesses.
He's like looking at him going, hey, you can get some of this stuff at Skevington.
Yes, and one of them, I think, was called the Ball Buster.
Yeah.
I don't even want to know.
Why but this was actual things that this guy ordered.
And
this wasn't Feeney this was publicly released. This is what the guy...
John just printed out. Yeah.
Well, not everybody likes the missionary position.
That's not the point. The point is, why would you send it to your
Because
workplace
he felt
anyway? He felt
no fear,
Well, the other thing is that he's not going to send it to his home because that's where his wife is.
I understand how that works.
I don't know if she was with him though at the time because they've been separated for a while.
Yeah, that's true.
I don't care. I'm so sick of the Ohio State thing now, and
it is a sham though.
Someone sent me a tweet. Hey, I heard they voted 55-24 to suspend him. I thought that was pretty good.
Hello.
Dirk sends it to a P.O. box.
Well, that was mean.
Very harsh.
Yeah.
Well, you're back, Tom.
That wasn't even a fake voice.
Just nothing.
No.
Stands by what he said.
Yeah, no entertainment value.
He's not hiding behind any screen. He's just delivering and saying, "Hey, I don't have anything to hide."
Hello.
That's how I feel.
Mr. Suter?
Yeah.
Back when you were in Landslide,
yes.
Did you ever wear the sparkled jockstrap with the suspenders?
I don't believe that I did. I'm not opposed.
That was one of your favorites, Feeney.
Could you?
And then Feeney leaves. He leaves all this stuff all over the studio.
Maybe give you some ideas.
That was from Yahoo Sports. That was all from Yahoo Sports.
Yeah, it wasn't from like the Romantics byline or something.
But I can't have that stuff in.
It was news, man.
So what did you say? Sparkly jockstrap with suspenders?
Yeah, suspenders. It serves as a ball buster.
Or the T-ball lifter.
Yeah.
Do you imagine being in a bar, John, and you walk, and then all of a sudden the curtain opens up and there's Landslide.
Right out.
There's Landslide with Suter in a harness.
Yeah. Yeah.
Oh my Lord.
Well, it would have been a prettier sight 30 years ago, but
oh man.
Really?
All right.
Yikes.
Boy.
Yikes, must we?
Oh.
Honest to God, what a freak.
You know, there's just this society is just too weird right now, isn't it?
No, it's just
Well, the thing that's weird is what's happened to the truth.
There
is no truth anymore.
Oh,
I mean, Rudy Giuliani even said it. There is no truth anymore if the truth doesn't fit your needs.
This whole thing is the whole country, everything, sports, politics, everything is so frickin' divisive. It's just, it's suffocating.
Yeah.
It really is.
That's why we need football to start so we can at least get our mind off of stuff. But you're right, though.
I talked to one of the family members, the Tibbet family members, and they just absolutely hate the politicizing of this.
Well, I told you what the girl tweeted. I mean,
she
told, the cousin.
Yeah. And we've got that on our Facebook. We've got that pinned.
She basically told that, what's her name? The Shannon Owens or she's the right wing. She basically just went off on her for politicizing. She was dropping F-bombs. She was pissed.
Well, this goes against what Molly Tibbetts would have wanted, or the whole family. They said, this woman told me, look, we were out there with Hispanics. We didn't check their status. We didn't care. They were searching. We were out there with all these people. We've heard from all of these countries all around the world. This was a worldwide, it made an impact.
It's a tragedy no matter the circumstance.
Yeah,
of course.
And you don't politicize
a young, beautiful girl lost her life.
Crap. Yeah.
Just needlessly.
You got murderers, and they if you're going to be a murderer, you white people murder, black people
Well, I just
murder,
don't understand why the Colorado, the guy
yeah.
who killed his family, why isn't that getting the same?
Yeah.
Well, because he's a white guy.
He's a white guy.
It's just frustrating.
And killed his own I don't even...
And now he's saying that his wife killed the children.
Yeah.
That he killed the wife out of nobility.
Sure he did. He's just a massive liar, and he's lied from the start. Well, I don't know where they went. Help me find them.
My children mean everything to me.
And
I need to hear their voices.
Meanwhile,
again.
they're in an oil well drum.
Yeah,
this guy needs to burst into flames. I mean, seriously.
We were waiting in line to get our boarding passes yesterday, and there was this guy from not that it matters, but from Minnesota. We were talking about Molly Tibbetts, and he said, "Your state needs to have the death penalty." And I said, "Well, maybe they should, and."
But does that really prove to be a good deterrent?
Well, no, it doesn't.
Do criminals, when they're in that moment where they're going to make that decision, whether they're going to kill or not, do they? Let's see. Does this state have that? I don't think they do.
Does this guy deserve retribution and the worst
He'll
that could
never get out.
Of
He's
course
thrown
he
away
should.
his life.
No, his life's over.
He's 24 years old, and he's never going to see the light of day.
He has ruined 2 lives.
Yeah.
Killed Molly Tibbetts, and then he threw
Ruined
his
his
own
life.
away.
Yeah. So, I mean...
Now, the people that for the death penalty, besides that, will say, look how much money this kid could live till he's 90. He could be in the system, but
then he's in jail till he's 90. The death penalty isn't cheap.
Oh, I know. Neither one is cheap. So,
No.
No, it's just, it's just unfortunate. These are tough times right now, and sports is a nice escape.
It's supposed to be a diversion.
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
Now, if Iowa loses that season opener,
well, and that ain't a given.
Oh, I know. I have them winning. We did my picks. You got to.
Suter will
I have
be
to make mine.
texting in all caps at 1:00 in the morning.
I know. Okay, I did not look at your picks. I'm not going to look at your picks. I will make my own.
My picks are serious. The comments with them are not serious. You'll like my Wisconsin. I have Iowa. I've told you I have Iowa.
You have told me.
And I said that Barry Alvarez takes over at halftime, tries to hire away Reese Morgan and Phil Parker to join his staff. They turn him down, and Iowa wins the game. But no,
Love it.
But they, and then Saturday we have to do. What do we have to?
We got to do our picks.
That's the only time we have left. So we'll do that on Saturday.
I'll be ready.
But no,
Person closest gets what?
Well, what did we do last year? $200.
I would say $250.
$250.
Didn't he win last year?
Yes, they have to beat me.
Yeah, they have to beat you,
and that shouldn't be that hard. I'm.
Because I think no one beat you last year, did they?
No.
And what'd you have them at 9-3?
Or 8-4.
Because I had them at 8-4, but
I thought you and I were one off. I mean,
maybe I had them 7-5. I think you had them 9-3. And I had him at 8. But then, how could you be closer to?
Well, because I don't know. Because you went out on the limb on certain.
Oh
games.
yeah, that's right. I picked Penn State and Iowa State to win. I picked Iowa State to win this time too. But so did some of my colleagues. I'm surprised. I'm surprised. But no, I have Iowa beating Northern Illinois in a very close game. I think it was going to be close either way. They should win this game. But if they lose that season opener, it's going to be just because then people will start saying, "God, there's a chance we're going to be 1-3 after 4 games." If they lose that season opener, you know how people start thinking ahead.
Of course,
I mean they got to be no worse than 3-1 after Wisconsin.
They lose the first one, all is lost.
If they're 2-2 after 4 games, it's not going to be happy around.
I think a lot of people will have cashed in the season.
I think you're right.
Hello.
Hey, not to change the subject real quick, but since it's birthday week in relation to KCJJ, happy birthday to Pat.
Thank you, appreciate it.
Related one. And does anybody else? I think this has probably been mentioned. You know who else's birthday it is today?
Music or sports?
It's Ray Gilmore's.
Yeah.
Oh,
Ray
that's
Gilmore,
right. His was a day.
Iowa City celebrity.
His day is day after mine. Sugar Ray. Yep. Happy birthday, Sugar Ray.
Hot dog vendor and popcorn maker, Ray Gilmore.
Yep.
And he gives my dog a snack biscuit every morning.
Yep.
Yes, it is. So he kept saying that he keeps eating those hot dogs. It's one day closer to the grave.
There you go. There's plenty of them up there, too. I go up there and visit Ray a lot.
Those are good hot dogs, though. Those aren't the Sinclair hot dogs.
They're better.
Oh, they're fresh.
But no, thanks for pointing that out. I forgot that Ray's birthday was the day behind.
Fresh.
Day after mine.
Happy birthday to both. Happy
All right,
birthday,
thanks.
Pat.
Appreciate
Thank
it,
you.
man.
Good call.
Thanks.
Real good call.
No, they're fresh.
So did you do something special for your birthday?
No. I thought it's funny, though. I can always tell who my sisters, when they remind their kids, hey, it's your uncle's birthday. Like, there's about a 15-minute flurry where every niece and nephew I have, hey, Uncle, and, they're not going to normally think about it, but that's how my sister, hey, it's your uncle's birthday. I got a kick out of that. And I will say this is my first birthday without my dad. And
I saw you said something.
It was just kind of, and my mom wouldn't know it's my birthday unless, it's just kind of depressing that when your dad's not around. It's just because he's been around for all the other ones, and this one he wasn't there. But still, I had somebody reach out to me on Twitter and said, hey, my dad died when I was 16.
Yeah.
My dad, I was in 50s.
You've been very fortunate.
Yeah, but what is that? Why do that?
Well, I think he was trying to tell me, hey, things could be worse.
Yeah, that's right.
When I got cancer and came on the air and said I got cancer, this guy calls me up and he had lost a foot in some industrial accident. His foot got cut off. What does that mean to me? What?
It could always be worse.
Yeah, it could always be worse than having cancer.
He's trying to help.
What the hell?
Well, you had people call you up and say, "Oh, my uncle died of prostate cancer."
Yeah, people were calling me up, telling me all these horror stories about people that died.
Why would you do that?
Because you're an a-hole. I
think they think that they're trying to tell you that things could be worse, so shut up. And that's
came out.
And that's not what you want to hear.
Pat, I just came out and said, I've got cancer. They've got a regimen. I think
they think, though, that they're comforting you by saying it could be worse.
Yes.
That's what I think their intention is.
No, I think they wanted to tell me
to shut up.
You might die.
Oh, I hadn't thought about that.
Yeah.
Well, sure.
I have more faith in my fellow man than you do.
Should I tape record your shows? Will they be worth anything?
Are you going to use it against me down the road?
It was just...
Are you going to flip on me?
So how long do we do our special All Hawkeye segment here today?
Until Lex and Terry.
No, you've got police reports, and then it's Hey Lang.
It's Hey Lang.
It's Hey Lang, which when he's not here and Molly's here, it's Hey Molly.
Yeah.
I think you need to do a Hey Richard. We got to have a Hey Richard part on this. Where 2
Hey
hours,
Padaski
can come in here for 2 hours and do what he wants.
Well,
he can play whatever music he wants, and an hour's worth of Modest Mouse. What do you think would happen?
Yeah. I like Modest Mouse.
I like the name. I haven't heard.
Modest Mouse is good.
Yeah.
So you guys have actually heard of him?
Yeah.
Oh, sure.
Oh, wow. Look at you guys. Look at you. You're not just...
I haven't rushed out and bought their music or anything.
I haven't rushed out and bought any music.
But I've enjoyed what I've heard of Modest Mouse.
I did watch the McCartney thing. They made it into an hour special.
Yeah,
and added more footage and stuff.
Was it worthwhile?
Oh yeah,
it's
fun.
Did you watch the MTV Awards?
No.
People are talking about how the ratings are down. I haven't watched that thing in 25 years.
No, the ratings were big.
Well, they don't have music anymore.
They said Fox said it's the lowest ratings they've ever had. Google it. Because they're using that. They're using that as they were politicizing. No, it's bad. The ratings were bad.
TV broadcasts were bad.
Yeah, that's what I meant. It was the lowest ratings.
Streaming.
That I don't know.
Yeah.
The TV ratings were the worst they've ever had, which I don't know. And people are politicizing that, which we do with everything now.
Yeah, evidently.
Everything's got to have a political slant. I just...
Hello.
Hey, guys. Real quick, I was thinking about the other day about that Sutton Smith in Northern Illinois and all the stuff that they're about, the storylines with the tackles out.
Mm-hmm.
If you look at him game by game, a lot of his stats came against Kent State, Bowling Green, Eastern Michigan, and teams like that.
Yeah, he plays in the MAC.
That's his conference.
Yeah, no, you're right. He plays in the MAC, and that's the one thing that I say Iowa should win this game. I'm with you.
Exactly. And I don't care. I mean, the number twos on the offensive line, they're going to be fine. And don't know. I've read a bunch of everybody's articles, and I think too much is being made of that. And I'm not saying the kid's not a good football player. He probably is, but he's not. He doesn't play against,
No, he doesn't.
tackles.
And he's about 6 foot, 230 pounds. I mean, this is not a 6'6" Ohio State future NFL guy. I mean, so no, I'm not taking anything away from him. If they don't block him, he's going to get sacks. But I'm with you. I mean, I think this game's going to be close, but I still think Iowa should win because they're playing a MAC team. A Big Ten team that's supposed to be pretty good shouldn't lose to a MAC team at home.
No.
No, and I don't know, man. I haven't thought about prediction on the score or anything like that, but I don't know. I didn't know if you guys had, and maybe I missed it if you guys brought that up or anything like that.
What, a prediction on the game?
No, like just him playing in. The level of competition.
Oh, no, we've discussed that.
Yes,
No,
week in and week out.
Yeah, we've discussed that. That's been my rally cry this whole time is he's doing this stuff against inferior opponents.
I mean, you can't take anything away from the kid. We'll see what he does.
Yes.
Because that's going to tell. That's going to tell.
Hey, before you hang up, I got something good for you. I got a quote from an Iowa fan. I hope Nebraska beats Ohio State. That's where this has gotten. That's an Iowa fan. They're so sick of Ohio State that they actually want Nebraska to beat them. I thought you'd find that funny.
Wasn't that but you know what though? There's no way. I hope Ohio State beats them 60-0.
I do too, and the reason I say that is, if you are an Iowa Hawkeye football fan,
you don't want Nebraska.
You pull for the East teams to beat the West teams 100 times out of
selfish.
100, except for Iowa. That's right.
Were you listening earlier what Chuck Long said about Nebraska and Scott Frost?
No, I didn't. I actually just came on the clock.
Well, we'll let Tom.
Well, we asked it. He came out. He said we asked him specifically, "Do you think Scott Frost is going to get it done at Nebraska?" And he said, "Absolutely, they will be competitive."
And
yes, he thinks that he's absolutely going to get it done.
Didn't mean to ruin your day, but that's what he said. And he's just being truthful. I mean, he's just speaking the way he feels. Chuck's a Hawkeye, obviously, through and through. So
no, yeah, I get it, guys. And the thing is the Big Ten does need Nebraska to be good. I mean, they've done nothing in anything since they've been here except volleyball. But they're I don't know, man.
I know.
I can't. I'm so I'm not mad at him for saying that, but the thing is, man, is they're so that. I hope he comes and he can score, but that defense is not good.
Defense has got some work.
50 points.
Well, they're not going to do it this year. They're not going to get it done this year. I don't believe, but they're coming.
But the thing Chuck said was they're going to play at a tempo on offense that's faster than anybody in the Big Ten. I was surprised. I haven't seen enough of Scott Frost's games to really know.
I haven't either.
So we'll see, though. Yeah, I mean, it's no guarantees, but he seemed pretty optimistic, and most people do. So, like I said, didn't mean to ruin your day.
That's all right, man. Hey, you know what? I'm going to call in radio shows up here in a little bit and start harassing.
All right. Go for it, man.
Hey, we'll talk to you soon.
All
right. Good talking to you.
Thanks for the call.
That's our policeman friend. He's a policeman, and I told him he should just start arresting Nebraska fans.
He just hates them.
Do you think he should just start arresting them?
I don't have profile. I have no problem with that approach.
I mean, profile.
Not at all.
It's not
problem.
It's not racial profiling. It's just fan profiling.
Hello.
And we're just kidding.
Speaking of going back to school and sports,
what's that?
I just heard Linn-Mar's freshman class is 700, and next year it's 900.
Holy cow!
How would you like to compete on that football team?
What the hell's going on at Linn-Mar to make it that big?
It's just a big district, and everybody building in Marion.
So none of those kids go to Marion, the Marion school? How big are their classes?
Very few.
Interesting. I remember my class at Dowling was big. It was like 450 back in the day. We had 1,700 students.
Moline, we had like 800.
I mean, yeah, but 400 to 500 is a pretty big class in Iowa.
We had 60.
Wow, that's.
I think Dowling's the largest in the state, though. So
no, Valley.
Valley. Oh,
yeah,
okay.
Valley's different though. Valley only has 3 grades. Valley has its own freshman building for where the freshmen go. There's like 1,000 of them. If you threw the freshmen in with the sophomore, juniors, and seniors at Valley, I think they'd be close to 3,000 students. And they still can't beat 1,000 Dowling in football. How's that? That's the Dowling in me speaking, but no, that's amazing. That is a lot of students.
What do you think Scott Frost could do at Dowling?
Oh, God, they would have. Well, they won 5 titles in a row. So if he was there, they would have probably won like 15 in a row. So.
And they would have won them with a larger margin of victory.
Oh, without question. I'll tell you what, though, if I'm the Linn-Mar coaches, I mean that's how you build, boy, those types of numbers. So you said 900 and the class coming in 2 years?
Next year.
Wow.
Think about that, though. If you get those 4 classes at that rate into a school at the same time, that's 3,000 students, over 3,000 students.
It's amazing.
And they're doing another bond issue. Taxes in that district are just so high already.
Yeah.
I know they ain't cheap in my district. I just got my God.
So is it Dowling that recruits and always wins?
I mean, Dowling's the private school, the Catholic school that when they win, everyone says they recruit. I mean, I can't speak. I was there 35 years ago. My brother was there 40 years ago. My brother was the best player on their football team his senior year. He was the only one that got a Division I scholarship. Nobody recruited him. He transferred from public school during midway through his freshman year, but because his dad wanted him to and he wanted to, Dowling didn't reach out to him. A lot of my friends were the best athletes in the senior. None of us were recruited. I mean, I'm sure there's some of it going on, but I think it's more blown out of proportion. And some private schools don't hide the fact that they recruit. I mean, but I don't know. I mean, that's the easy thing.
Private schools should recruit. Yeah, they have to recruit. They're private schools.
Yeah. But Dowling's numbers are not up. I mean, I don't think there's near as many students at Dowling as when I was there was around 1,500. I don't think they're near that high now.
Huh.
And they're better. I mean, they were really good in football when I was there, but we couldn't win a state title. That didn't happen until 2000, and now they've won 5 in a row and like 8 or 9 since 2000. It's incredible.
The other amazing thing is I went to Cedar Rapids Kennedy, and we've never won a state title in football.
And you're never gonna.
Well, okay, Jefferson won one. Jefferson won the very first one. Cedar Rapids Xavier is one of who has Cedar Rapids Washington won a state title in football?
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Did they? Okay, not
but,
many.
But it's been a long time ago.
No, okay, so Cedar Rapids Jefferson, I believe, won the very first one in 1972, didn't they? They beat Dowling.
Yeah, I believe they did.
Yeah.
And
so.
Well, let's just take it to Lex and Terry.
All right.
I got to, before we leave, this hospital, University Hospital, is just freaking a treasure, and it's great. Jan just got her meds back, and they did all the tests, and just cancer-free.
Great.
Excellent.
Good way to end the show.
Oh, God, that's great news, Steve.
Good way to end the show.
It is. No,
now
that's just...
Now you go out and have a real special. Now, where are you going to lunch? Where are you going to go to lunch?
I don't know. We haven't
I want
had
to go someplace,
because
I think it's
yesterday there were so many people. I want to go to someplace quiet like the phone screener's room at the KGYM.
I saw it coming. Right then I saw it. Did you see it?
I saw it.
Oh, you did?
Oh, absolutely.
You've been gone for a while. I
don't
know if you lose.
No, my instincts are rapier sharp.
So we could have ended with a really nice announcement about Jan being cancer-free.
But no.
But no, we end it with another shot at my friends up north.
Your friends up north.
And you got to work with these people.
Yeah.
All right. AllHawkeyes.com special segment. Get your subscription today.
Is replacing that uneven sidewalk or driveway still on your to-do list? Well, don't replace it.